All right, the Milwaukee Bucks are officially open for business on Giannis Antetokounmpo. This is what ESPN reported this week. The reality, though, is that teams have been preparing to make offers for Giannis for several weeks now. Jimmy Haslam, the co-owner of the team, he made it clear recently that they would like to see a resolution to this before next month's NBA draft. So that gives the Bucks about 6 weeks, give or take, to figure all this out as it pertains to Giannis. Now, the Bucks, they made it clear before the trade deadline that the asking price for Giannis is going to be pretty high. They're going to want young players. They're going to want draft picks. They're not going to want toxic, bad contracts as they go into the, kind of fledgling stages of a full rebuild. And look, this is one of the most important moments in the history of this franchise. If they get this deal right, like Oklahoma City did with Paul George, or even further back, the Celtics did with Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, you have the tools to rebuild this team pretty quickly. If they get it wrong, like Dallas did with Luka Doncic, they will regret it, and they'll have to rely maybe on the luck of the lottery gods to land them a franchise savior like Dallas did with Cooper Flagg. So who is going to be in the mix for Giannis? I've been talking to people around the league about this for months now. And most of the teams that were in the Giannis hunt last time around are probably going to be in this mix this time. That means Miami, which is looking to make a big upgrade this offseason. Pat Riley, at his end of season availability, said as much. They want to be aggressive this offseason to try to find some help for Bam Adebayo. Miami's got some draft capital. They've got some contracts that would make some sense. I would expect Miami to be first in line, knocking on the door of Milwaukee for Giannis. Golden State, I would expect them to be back in the mix. Steve Kerr, his situation being resolved with a 2-year contract. They clearly want to make another run with this group, this Steph Curry-led group. They've got some draft picks. They've got some movable contracts. I would expect them to be back in the mix as well. And Minnesota, the Timberwolves were among the teams Giannis was willing to go to last trade deadline. So they're another team that has some picks, has some pieces, and could make a pretty good offer for Giannis to play alongside Anthony Edwards. For now, I'm going to take New York out of this equation. The Knicks are rolling. They could win the East. Not sure if you break up a team that wins the Eastern Conference, even if you think that Giannis might be an upgrade over Karl-Anthony Towns. So right now, I would take the Knicks out of that mix. So those are the teams I'm reasonably sure will be the most aggressive on Giannis. Some of the newcomers that could enter these conversations. I'd put Atlanta on that list. I know their front office is not looking to get overly aggressive this offseason. They resolved the Trae Young situation before the deadline, and now they're kind of building this thing out around Jalen Johnson and Dyson Daniels and some of the young pieces they have there. But Atlanta does have some movable parts. They've got some good draft picks to trade. If they want to take a swing, they certainly have the ability to do that. Houston, I've been saying for a while the Rockets are a team to watch. Houston, ramped up its timeline when they acquired Kevin Durant. And they committed to it when they gave Kevin Durant an extension before the start of this season. The Rockets have a marquee piece in Alperen Sengun that they could deal. They've got some draft picks of their own, some other young talent. And look, if you're trying to maximize the, Durant era, then you need to add something big. I mean, what we learned this offseason or this season about Houston is that they just don't have it. Certainly getting Fred VanVleet back next year will help. Steven Adams back next year will help. Not losing Kevin Durant for most of the first round series will certainly help. But, the Rockets, there's probably going to be some internal pressure on them to take a big swing. And, Giannis is that kind of big swing. The Lakers have to be on that list. They're always on the list of potential teams. They're looking to make a run with Luka Doncic. If you can get your hands on Giannis, that's obviously something the Lakers think would be interested in. I would put Cleveland on that list right now as we tape this. They're 2-2 in the conference semifinals with Detroit. If they bow out in the second round, there's going to be some pressure there to keep building out this team to satisfy Donovan Mitchell. The Cavs have a player in Evan Mobley that would be extremely attractive to a rebuilding team like Milwaukee, so I'd put them on the list. And the last one I'd say is Orlando. Disappointing year for the Magic. They're going to have a new coach at the start of the season. They've got a franchise young player in Paolo Banchero that they could potentially deal. So I'd keep my eye on them as being a potential candidate for Giannis. The last team I would mention, and I don't want to put them even, I know they've been mentioned a lot, but I don't put them in the front runner category. That's the Boston Celtics. A lot of noise around Jaylen Brown right now. A lot of it really self-inflicted in some ways. Did those streams. Tracy McGrady said what he said about Jaylen and his frustrations with Boston. And I've been around Jaylen in Boston a lot over the last 10 years. And some of the frustrations, I think, are understandable with Jaylen Brown. I just don't see how this is the right move for Boston. Like, on paper, would Giannis be an upgrade for the Celtics? Yeah, especially if you're a team that wants to put more pressure on the rim, which the Celtics clearly do. They were kind of burned, or really burned, by their three-point happy attack during the playoffs, which got them bounced in the first round. But Giannis, his reliability is a big question mark here. He was injured most of this season. He's had multiple years of these kind of soft tissue injuries, multiple years where he's not been able to compete in the postseason, or at least at the end of the postseason. I'd be leery if I'm the Celtics about breaking up the Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum combination, because that combination can be successful. You have won a championship with that duo. You have been the most successful team in the Eastern Conference over the last 10 years with that duo. I'd be very nervous about acquiring a player like Giannis, who's got his history of injuries, and giving up a player like Jaylen Brown, who has proven to be durable, has shown that he can take his game to another level, and it's shown that he can help you win a championship. So I would be anxious, nervous if I was Boston about doing a deal like that, and I think the front office probably recognizes that as well. So I don't think you can dismiss Boston because it was such a tough end to the season, but I would put them on that next tier of teams that would be interested in Giannis. Either way, it's going to be a fascinating 6 weeks. There's going to be a lot of rumors out there, a lot of chatter. Giannis obviously is going to have a big voice in all this because he's the one that can sign an extension next year. So it'll be interesting to watch it play out. But I think by the draft, we're probably going to see Giannis with a new home, and it's going to be a pretty wild 6 weeks while they figure it out.
Hit subscribe for more news, highlights, and analysis from the NBA on NBC.